Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am so excited for this video because we are going to be ranking my Menagerie Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. I have all of the ones that they've ever released except for one, which would be the Courtship palette. It was a 6-pan little mini neutral palette. It was limited edition, not available anymore, but I have 6 other palettes from them. I've done full reviews on some of these. I've done first impressions on some, so today's just a great way to kind of just round it all up and tell you how I'm feeling about all the palettes I own from Menagerie, which ones I love, which ones are at the bottom of the list, because I don't necessarily hate any of them, but there's ones that I prefer, of course. Alright, so we're going to be going from worst to best. So the palette that I have ranked number 6 would be the Dragon Child palette. This is actually their oldest palette, and this was whenever they were called Makeup Monster Cosmetics. It was before they branded to Menagerie Cosmetics, and here is what the inside looks like. So it's cute. It's definitely a little bit of a different aesthetic than what they've got going on now. I believe they discontinued the palette, but some of the singles are available for purchase. Some of them have been discontinued as well. You'll just have to creep on their website if there's any in particular that are grabbing your attention. I feel like this palette is pretty in theory. Like when I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of beautiful colors, but I never reach for this one. And the formula is fine. Like it works. It's good. It's kind of their OG formula. There's some beautiful shades here, and I think what happened with this purchase is that I ended up grabbing it on Black Friday when I grabbed their Farrell palette, and it was kind of just like, oh, I'll just get them both together. It's a discount, throw it in the cart. Just, you know, I'm already making an order kind of thing. It wasn't like I intentionally searched out to purchase just this palette. It was more of like an add-on, and I feel like that kind of speaks through how I felt about the palette over time. Sometimes I'll pick one shade out of it. I'll use it here and there, but it's just a palette I rarely reach for, which is a shame because I'm looking at it now and I'm like, it's so beautiful. There's so many pretty like cool tones, and then there's just a few warm tones in here. There's like this really kind of like golden green, which I love shades like that. And I am wearing the shade Lucky on my inner corner today. My entire look was done with Menagerie palettes. I did film a quick Instagram tutorial in case you want to see how I got this look using all the palettes except for one, but overall this is just the bottom, and it's not even a bad palette. Like I said, like it's good. It's good quality, it's pretty, it's just the one I reach for the least. So coming into 5th place would be my Violet Ink palette, which is so cute. This is the only 6-pan one that I own. I love the artwork on this, and I remember feeling so excited when this palette came out. I was just like, this is so beautiful. I love a purple monochromatic color scheme, and again, overall, this is really good quality. There's some beautiful mattes in here. I really like the formula of the mattes. I just feel like the shimmers, I like this one Mimic in itself, but I just feel like in this palette, I would have chose different shimmer options, and that's probably why I don't reach for it as much. But the mattes are great quality. I'm not a huge fan of these shimmers from Menagerie. I can get them to work, but they're not my favorite formula. Most of the palettes don't have very many shimmers in. But anyways, I just feel like this is nice. I just, again, don't reach for it as much. I like how compact it is. I think it's cute. I like the mattes, but I just feel like if it was me, I would have done it just a little bit different according to my own personal preference, which the great thing about their palettes is they are magnetic, so you can easily pop these shades out. You can buy some of their singles. You can switch it up. You could move around shades from different palettes and create your own color stories. It's such a fun way to make something old feel new, but just as it is in its original form, I feel like it is number 5. All right, so next, honestly, between number 4 and number 3, this was the hardest. Going back, I was like, these two are neck and neck. They're so close to each other, but I just decided to go with my heart. So number 4 for me is going to be the Farrell palette. I don't know if this is a surprise. I do really like this one. Here's what it looks like. Again, super beautiful. This was their 2nd palette that they released, and here is what it looks like. Mine is a little bit different than what is sold now because they had an original color story, which I purchased, and then they decided to switch up 2 of the shades that were a little bit softer. I believe is these 2 shades right here, if I remember correctly. And this one that's in Canis Lupus isn't in the palette anymore. I think it's more of a soft, like brownie neutral, but I liked the pinky shade more, so I left that in. So you'd have to go on their website to see what the palette looks like now because mine's just a little bit off. But overall, I feel like this is, again, a really pretty color story. I do like the shimmers in here a little bit more. Like, I feel like Harmonia is beautiful. That's what I have all over my lid. Buchera is such a bright green. And then this one, Pack Leader, is also beautiful, but I found that my eyes can be a little bit sensitive to that with certain eye primers or certain, like, if I spray it, something about the dyes in that particular shade. So overall, I really like this. I feel like I've done so many beautiful looks with it. Every time I use it, I like the look. But again, I don't know, something about the color story, I just look at it and it feels a little bit all over the place. I think it's a beautiful palette. Again, between 3 and 4, it was really, really hard. So the palette I put in third place is Killer Purr. And I wasn't the biggest fan of this palette when it first launched. Again, such beautiful packaging. And the reason why is because I felt like this palette was different than the other eyeshadow palettes they've produced thus far. I felt like these were a lot more packed tightly. And although there's less kickback in these, they're way less soft and you had to build them up more, which, you know, if I look at this palette just as it is, I'm like, that's nice. Like, it's a nice formula. It's pretty easy to use. It just wasn't what I expected from a Menagerie Cosmetics palette. I like the typical, like the old original, like super kickbacky formula from Menagerie more. I just feel like they look so smooth on the eyes. It's incredible. So although this isn't my favorite Menagerie formula, I do really love the color story of this. And I just feel like this is one of those super fun neutral palettes. Again, with the shimmers, I'm not a fan of them in this because you have a light gold and then you have a deeper gold. And it's just like there's so much more fun things going here. I wish that the shimmers had been better options because I feel like they're very limiting and they're so similar, and also they're a bit chunky. Overall, I feel like there's so many fun like peachy warm tones, which I use those 2 shades in my crease today and they just blended so nice. And then you've also got some more mustardy tones. You've got more of a warm brown and a cool brown, and then you've also got a pop of teal, a pop of green, a pop of yellow. So I really think this is such a fun neutral palette. Do I wish the formula was a little bit softer, a little bit more like their original formula? Yes. That doesn't mean that it's a bad palette, and as time has gone on, I have grown to really like it. So that is third place. Now we are down to the top 2, and I would love if you commented real quick, if you pause the video and let me know, do you think Menagerie Whale Song is my favorite, or do you think Pastel Pop is my favorite? I'll give you a second. Okay, done. I feel funny at this point. I'm always like, should I announce this the way that they would at a pageant? Like, should I say first place instead of doing like second and then first, because first is more exciting? I'm totally overthinking this. The second place palette would be the Whale Song palette, and I absolutely adore this palette. I feel like there's the possibility of these two going back and forth for first place depending on the season and the time, but I think this is such an amazing palette. It's my favorite blue-green palette of all the ones that I've tried, and I just feel like the shimmers in here are actually really, really nice. I find that these 3 are a lot smoother than a bunch of their other shimmers. This one up here, Pearl, is still a little bit more chunky. That's actually what I have underneath my brow bone today. It's a beautiful brow bone highlight. It's a beautiful face highlight as well. So I like the shimmer options in here more, which already kind of puts it higher up in my books. And then also all of the matte shades are so beautiful. There's just so many unique tones in here. I find this so easy to blend. I love all the looks that I do with this. It's just an amazing formula, and it's very, very kickbacky, very soft, and I don't even know how to describe. I've tried so many times to explain how they look in the crease and just how smooth but like full impact they are, and they just blend. I just love them so, so much. It's ridiculous. I just love this formula. And unfortunately, I feel like they are moving towards their mattes being pressed harder, which I guess maybe other people like that more, and I'm just in the minority here. It is what it is. But the major downfall of this palette, I would say that it stains so strongly, and I just feel like when I wear this, I have blue eyes for days. And I've been told so many different tips and tricks and stuff, and they don't help me. Like this blue, it gets to my eyes, it sticks to my eyes, end of story. The palette that is number 1 obviously would be the Pastel Pop, and I've also had an interesting relationship with this palette because when I first got it, again, I was disappointed on first impression just because I felt like I was like, Menagerie, they do these amazing, super impactful shades, and these mattes are just so soft and blendable, and they're going to do pastels. They're going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be amazing in the Menagerie formula. And again, these are much harder pressed than their other shadows, so much less kickback, and I just felt like I thought when I got this palette, it was going to be like, bam, impact, pigment, like craziness. And that's definitely not the case with this. I feel like these are more buildable. I do personally prefer either using a tacky base or a white base with this palette. I feel like it makes a world of difference, and I've learned how to make it work. The thing that gets me about this palette is just the color story. Like, I really don't care about the bottom row that much, to be honest. The black, the white doesn't really matter to me. The trefoil shadow is beautiful, but I have other colors that are similar to this in formulas that I enjoy more. It's okay, it's just a bit chunky, and I feel like I get a lot of fallout with that even when I use a glitter primer. So mostly I'm here for these 9 shades, and I just feel like this is the prettiest pastel color story altogether. I have a lot of pastel palettes. I have Pastel Palette Battle. I can link right here in case you're interested to see all my thoughts. But this is just like the true pastel rainbow, and all my other pastel palettes is just like a little pop of pastel here and there, or it's a few shades, but it's not the variety of shades that this palette has to offer. And I just feel like all the shades go together so well. Every single look I do with this I really love, and when you pack them on, they can pack quite a punch. So even though again I was like, this isn't the formula that I was expecting, this is a formula I have to learn and understand, it's still a really, really great palette once you get to know it. I also did use Cuddle and Snack today underneath my lower lash line to do a little pop of pastel, which I think turned out really pretty. So I really do just love this palette. I think it's so nice, and if you're willing to have a little bit of patience, then I think it can be an amazing pastel palette. I feel like overall I really love Menagerie. I love what they're doing. I can't wait to see what their next palette is, which is going to be a collaboration. I am so hype about it. Also, just in case you didn't know, I often forget to mention this, but Menagerie does donate a portion of their proceeds to the Animal Welfare Institute, which is really cool because their theme is not just a theme. They actually care about helping animals as well. So that's everything for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have not subscribed already and you want to hear more about any makeup from me, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye.